to a video by The Verge that said women who drive for Uber and Lyft are being left to fend for themselves. I have with me the lady that is mentioned in this article. Her name is Tara, and I have Edward. Now, when I spoke to Tara, she said that a lot of information was left out and that she really felt like she wanted to share this with the gig community, and she wanted the companies Uber and Lyft to listen to her because they're just not listening to the recommendations and the input. So Tara, I welcome you tonight. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I really appreciate the fact that you have the courage to come on tonight. What you've been through, you know, as a man, we can't even understand or fathom what it must have been like. Edward, I have Edward with me. Edward, I mean, this is shocking.
Yes.
This is shocking. You know.
Yes, it is. As for your listeners, Edward Escobar, I'm the founder of the Alliance for Independent Workers, hashtag Drivers Unite movement. And yeah, and Torsten, it does happen to men too. I've had some in our team members in San Francisco that actually there was an article and there was a news coverage on NBC Telemundo about a driver being sexually assaulted, a male driver being sexually assaulted New Year's Eve, and it is on NBC and Telemundo. So it does happen to men as well. So we cannot discount that.
That is very true. But you know what I really want to address tonight is that there's a lot of women out there that remain silent and, you know, maybe don't have the physical means to fight back in the car, right, Tara? I mean, it's when you have these freaks that are doing all this crazy stuff in your car, you know, you're not armed with a gun, you're not armed with pepper spray. It's just you, right? And in the early hours of the morning. So, what do you feel like the article really didn't capture here, Tara?
So many things.
Okay.
One thing she did get right was this job made me feel weak.
Okay.
I realized I was weak, that I couldn't protect myself when these incidents occur. I mean, I have almost 9,000 rides.
Yeah.
I probably had about, I don't know, 300 or 400 incidents.
Really, that high, huh? And just when you say incidents, what do these characters try? I mean, what do they believe they can get away with?
Propositioned, men grabbing my breath, touching my hair.
Wow.
I used to actually cut my hair short before every golf season.
Really?
We have a lot of golfers that come here.
Okay. And
so during golf season, I have a lot of problems.
So those golfers, what do they go out and get drunk and then end up in the car in the evening, and then they think, you know, just because they're paying, they think they can get away with this stuff, right?
Yes, I just had this discussion with a friend who is also a driver, and she said she's having the same problems.
Okay.
Because she's still driving. And one thing we should touch on that wasn't in the article is she's been driving through this whole COVID thing.
Okay.
And she's really hurting.
So
I want to add to that, Torsten, that one thing that the article did not touch on is that as bad as that has been for women, it's even worse now under COVID because women, especially single moms, are being forced financially. Either go to work or stay home and starve, and your children starve too. So go to work, possibly get the COVID and die and infect your whole family and bring death to your home, or either way, it's a losing proposition, and they have the women at a real disadvantage. So they're forced to accept and put up with a bunch of garbage from these drivers who don't want to wear masks, who assault them, who do all kinds of things. And what do they have to do? Stay silent, otherwise they're deactivated. And
so,
you know how
Edward is right.
So Tara, go ahead.
Edward is right. Most of the riders are not wearing masks.
Okay.
But if we report them, we get a bad rating, and that hurts us.
Right, exactly.
So we have no choice but to answer yes to the question, are your riders wearing masks? They do ask us that.
Okay.
But I mean, we're in a really bad position because if we report them, we get a bad rating. And
Right.
it's the same with sexual harassment.
So when it comes to sexual harassment, you are reporting this, right? You're reporting every incident, or are you not?
I am not.
And why?
I reported one a few weeks ago.
Okay.
This guy left bruises on my arm.
And don't you think
nothing happened?
Don't you think it's important to report every single incident of sexual harassment? I mean,
there's too many.
It's too many.
If I can handle it myself, if it's just a guy who grabs my breast or touches my hair or propositions me, I just don't bother to report it anymore because it happens so much.
Wow.
And isn't that a sad statement?
That's that saddens me. It really, really saddens me to hear this.
I reported the guy 3 weeks ago because he wouldn't get out of my car for 30 minutes.
Okay.
We were in a dark parking lot. I was terrified. And he physically took my arm, left bruises on me, and then he finally got out of the car. I reported him because that was as serious as
Yes,
incident.
that's serious. That is very serious. And then what type of response did you get?
I report the serious incidents.
Well, I mean, would you not encourage women in general to report every incident that goes,
I would, but there's too many.
Okay. And do you feel like they're listening?
They did call me. They spent about 60 seconds on the phone and said, what happened? We have the details. We're going to send you an email so I can send them a picture of the bruises. I never got the email. They just never followed up.
So they never...
That's their MO too, is they don't follow up.
They don't follow up because they don't want this to be an issue. They don't want to record this as another case. You know what I mean? They don't want to open up...
It has to be reported in their data that's then requested by the government later on.
It's shocking. It's shocking, and I hope someone at the company is listening in right now. I am furious. I am mad as hell right now when I hear this from a lady driver who's driving day and night to make ends meet, and these guys don't even take the time.
I'm not making ends meet.
Well, okay, you're putting in every hour trying to make ends meet, right?
I am.
Okay. And
a big one for me was when a guy tried to put a plastic bag over my head.
Oh my God.
And I did fight him off. He got out of the car. I reported him immediately. I got several messages the next day from him saying he left something in my car. And then he reported to Uber that I was drunk. And they take you down for 48 hours. This was the weekend before Christmas. He ruined my family's Christmas because that's a big weekend for us, and I lost financially. It was the weekend. I couldn't work. They left me sitting in a parking lot for about 3 hours while I was back and forth with Uber support saying they would fix it, and they didn't.
Did you file a police report? Because that constitutes attempted murder. You couldn't.
I picked him up at a grocery store, and all I had was the first name of Brad.
Okay, so...
He said there was nothing they could do unless Uber gave them some information, and Uber cites privacy.
Okay, I want to jump in here.
Passengers, but not for us. They don't care what happens to us.
Tara, I want to jump in here and give you some advice. One area that I'm very versed in is in the legal field, and if you were to get an injury attorney or any attorney or even represent yourself, you have the right to subpoena, get these records, the names, things like this. And it's easy for me to say, because here I am, a male, and I'm not really in your world. I'm not, I can't speak on behalf of you. I cannot speak on behalf of women, but it infuriates me that people like this, who could do it again, who get back on the platform, who could try the same craziness on the next woman, right, are not held accountable. And the only way you really hold them accountable is to open a lawsuit, right? Because that, strangely enough, that's when Uber and Lyft start cooperating, when you're in court, right? So,
and I have a story about that.
Okay.
A driver I drove for months, I will call him Mark.
You can call him by name. You can call him.
Rider, you mean?
A male rider.
Okay.
It was my first year driving for Uber, and it was during golf season. So my first incident occurred the first week I drove. And
how long ago was that? When was that?
I can tell you the exact date.
No, not exact. Just what year, what month?
September 19th, 2015.
Okay.
The police were involved, and they basically told me to get another job, and they weren't going to do anything. So this was the first time a guy grabbed my breath.
Okay, so the police are definitely protecting these thugs, right? They're not taking the full report.
They don't want to deal with Uber drivers ever.
Really?
They don't like us because they don't get our quotas because of us. So basically, when we call them for support, they do not support us at all.
Wow.
I recorded one of them, actually. We sat down and talked to me for about 45 minutes, and he was like, I know you're recording me. I'm like, yes, I am.
Good.
Why aren't you doing anything?
Right. And bring us names. We on this channel, what I like to do is hold the mirror up and hold the pictures up and hold the names up, right? So that we have some sort of accountability.
Well, his name was Mike.
Okay.
I drove him for months. It was an easy ride, 5 minutes. He tipped me $10 in cash, which I really needed.
Okay.
And he talked about his grandchildren and his past as a firefighter.
Yeah.
And over time, things escalated. He would offer me money to come up to his condo, and I'd say no. He'd get out, and it was fine. And then one night, he unzipped his pants, pulled out his penis, and grabbed my hand and tried to put it on it, and I started screaming.
Really?
He got me I was about 2 or 3 inches away from having my hand on his penis.
Wow. And
I started screaming, and he jumped out of the car. And here's the thing. A bunch of Uber drivers, we'd stand around and wait for the surge in Merle's Inlet.
Yes.
The male drivers would make jokes that our ratings would be higher if we gave blowjobs and hand jobs. I found out from 2 other female drivers they experienced the same thing.
That male drivers are
insensitive and inconsiderate. They are very dismissive, and it's very unfortunate.
What city is this? What city is this? What city is this?
2 years later, I was waiting outside a bar in Merle's Inlet for a customer. Mike got in my car by mistake. And
Really?
He saw who it was. He got right back out. But he was still using the Uber app 2 years later and had probably done this to countless women.
The same guy that pulled this on you was back on the platform. Did you report him?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay,
and they said they would unpair me with him. That's what they told the other 2 drivers. And we all had the same problem. And he would request rides until he got one of us.
So he would try and firstly he would get back on the platform. They actually allowed this individual.
He was never taken off the platform.
Right. That's
just a problem.
They you know how they say, Thorsten, that they won't match you up with them again.
No, I understand that part, but you got to be removed from the platform at that point. I mean, if a driver did this, you'd be off. You'd never get back on. Right?
You have deactivated immediately.
No, you'd be prosecuted as well and serve criminal time. I mean, it's just how it is.
Right, but so this Mike character.
They privacy laws for the customers, and they did for Mike was never prosecuted. he was allowed to keep using Uber, and it was 2 years later.
And you don't have a last name or where this guy works or anything, that I can call there tomorrow.
I'll just put in the address of a condo complex. I didn't even have his address.
Well, send me that stuff later, but let's find out. I mean, the first thing, the thing is shocking is that the companies are allowing Mike back on. So, and we should get Mike's last name, through even a small claims suit where you can subpoena the names from Uber and Lyft. They have to disclose that. So, Mike has to be held accountable. Mike can't just go out there again and pull the same shit on another woman, right? Because
I did this 7 years ago.
Right, unbelievable, unbelievable what these companies get away with. Unbelievable. And so there must have been many other stories, right?
Also, Tara, you do also gig work, though. I mean, you do deliveries. So
I drive for Uber about 4 times a year now.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
And in one of the times I drove, I had an incident, and it's every night. At the end of the night, guys see a female driver. We're just objects to them.
Right.
Ryan, the guy a few weeks ago, wasn't the only one. They offer us money. They act like we're prostitutes.
And is this at nighttime mainly, or does this also happen during the day?
This just happens at night when the bar is closed.
And that's basically the only time you really make money, right? During the day, there's not much money to be.
There's no money to be made. I'm in South Carolina.
Okay.
I have to drive. In the winter, I have to drive 2 hours away and sleep in my car for days on end.
You sleep in the car? Where do you?
Yeah, I go there on Friday and I sleep in the car till Sunday.
Really? And do you know other lady drivers, female drivers that are doing the same? Do you have other friends?
Yes, I have a partner. She sleeps next to me in her car. That's how I met her.
And you look out for each other, right? You got each other's back.
Look after each other, and over time, the Walmart parking lot, that's where we're allowed to legally sleep.
Okay.
It's a line of Uber drivers sleeping in their cars.
A mixed variety, what do you say, like 80-90% men, 10-20% women?
Yes. And a couple of them actually, I've talked to them, live in their cars.
Really?
Is that because the Walmart parking lot is open 24 hours and they have lighting, access to bathrooms, and so
exactly.
And security in the parking lot.
Well, I figured out how to bring a big jar and I pee in it.
No, I mean,
I'm sorry to put that.
No, you're right. I mean, we got to talk about reality here. We can't hold back. Companies need to understand.
Over my windows.
Yeah.
So I have privacy. When it's really cold, I have to get up and turn the heat on.
Yeah.
And then go back to sleep. And I mean, my doctor had to prescribe Ambien to help me sleep in the car.
Wow. No, so we have we have a lady who's in the live feed, Sabine. She said, Mike needs to be held accountable. This is another lady driver, and she can relate to your story. Sorry?
The plastic guy bag. Brad needs to be held accountable.
And Mike as well.
There are so many men out there that need to be held accountable.
Because in the article, they did not go in depth that you were held hostage for 3 hours by that.
They did not. His name was Billy.
He helped you.
Briefly tell them what happened there, the full part, because it was not given the full impact of
No, it was not.
As it occurred in the article.
Go ahead.
In the article, it made it sound like his friends just came looking for him. This was after 3 hours.
Start from the beginning of what happened and tell the full story exactly as it happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I picked up a group of golfers.
Okay.
They were staying at some condos about a quarter mile from my house.
Okay.
But they were all staying in different condos. There was a guy in the front seat, and he saw I was reading Stephen King It, and he said, "Oh, you must be really smart." And I'm like, "Right." I have a master's degree, and I graduated at the top of my class.
Okay.
Anyway, a song came on the radio, sitting by the dock of the bay.
Yes.
And he said, "Oh, my name is Otis." His name was not Otis, it was Billy.
Wow.
That's what his friends were screaming out when they came back 3 hours later. But anyway, he was the last passenger. He guided me to his condo, but it wasn't his condo. He guided me up to the clubhouse, which was closed. It was like 3 a.m. And to the edge of the green. Then he took the keys out of my ignition.
Wow.
When I had just had foot surgery and I had a boot on. It was on my left foot so I could still drive.
Yeah.
Because Uber drivers can't take off and rest.
Totally right.
We don't make enough income to take a week off. It's just that simple.
Correct.
That's where I am. I know some Uber drivers make a lot of money. I don't. But anyway, I tried to go for my phone and he slapped me. Anytime I tried to open the door, he slapped me. Wow. He kept trying to pull me on top of him. This went on for 3 hours. I tried to talk to him about myself and about himself to humanize me. So he would stop this and let me go.
Jeez.
But he just kept manhandling me, and he just kept slapping me and pulling me on top of him. And he asked me why I was crying, and he didn't understand that he was the reason that I was crying.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Like, he had no clue. He gave me $100. He put it in my center console, and that meant I was going to have sex with him. So I kept trying to fight back, but he kept, that's the only way he didn't rape me, and he was drunk too. But I kept fighting back every time he pulled me on top of him.
Jeez, like.
And this went on for 3 hours until his friends suddenly pulled up. And they were shouting, "Billy, you got laid," and blah, blah, blah. And he got scared, and he got out of the car, and he got in with his friends. Some of his friends made jokes about bodies being buried in the woods, and that scared the crap out of me. And I just started sobbing. I pulled a safe distance away, and I was just sobbing.
I am so sorry, man, that you had to 3 hours, and this all just originated through one on an Uber app, right? This ordeal, this 3-hour ordeal.
And I had read in that I live in Charleston. I actually live in the greater Myrtle Beach area, because it doesn't really make sense at the end of the area when she says we take naps before we drive back. We actually sleep in the parking lot for days. We don't take naps.
Yeah, that's
at the end of Sunday night.
The writer of the article really was very dismissive and diminished what's really going on, Torsten, because what's happening is drivers are sleeping in their vehicles numerous nights in a row, as Tara has explained, but they're also living in their vehicles. Some people don't have any other options. So it's become the new class of homeless people living in their vehicles.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
I lived in my vehicle for 3 days a week, and I was destroyed when I got home. I didn't sleep well, and it took me 4 days to recover. I had no life.
I hear you, but I have a question for you. So
sure.
The majority of these men, and you bring up golf a lot, is there like one golf resort there, or is it like multiple different areas? Or
multiple golf. This is known as the golf capital of the country.
So there are multiple golf courses.
2 golf seasons, one in the spring and one in the fall.
And a lot of these people.
President Trump actually ruined one of our golf seasons, the fall golf season, when he said they were all under water. and they weren't, and business is closed.
Right.
And that's Myrtle Beach?
And not only that, all Uber drivers, I run the Uber webpage here.
Yes.
Uber drivers were hurt because the golfers didn't come.
Right.
We lost income, and this was during a hurricane when he visited Myrtle Beach. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember that.
He destroyed our golf season, and business is closed. Uber drivers lost their cars, lost their homes.
Jeez, like.
Wow.
And then
he hurt a lot of people.
I hear you. So
I voted for him, and I did not vote for him the second time.
Okay.
I was really unhappy with the way he treated people.
Right.
I don't want to get political.
No, I understand, but you look, you have a right.
But the politicians are also responsible to the people, and the working class is what supports this country and pays the bills and pays the taxes.
It was everyone. It was waitresses, bartenders. I talked to a few of them.
Right.
We were destroyed because he made this stupid comment that wasn't true.
Right.
Right. So, the politicians, legislators, all of these folks in government positions that are supposed to be there to represent our interests have really fallen way short.
They failed the gig workers.
The working class.
Right. I want to follow up on these. I want to follow up on these golf, because you're in this area where a lot of people probably travel in to play golf. They get drunk and they think that they can do whatever they want to a female driver. It sounds like quite a common pattern here, right?
Right. My friend Kathy, she had quite a few incidents herself. There was this one really scary one where with this guy. She had two guys. She dropped the first one off. The second guy didn't have. He put a gas station address.
Okay.
Then he pulled out a knife on her. She was terrified.
Right.
She didn't know what was going to happen. She got to the gas station, and the guy actually handed her the knife so he could go in and buy whatever. When he came back out, she split the knife through the window and left him there.
Torsten, if you want to mention the importance of dash cams.
She has a dash cam.
You have a dash cam as well?
And how to use it.
Uber didn't care.
And how to use it properly.
Uber did not care because she did not get stabbed. The fact that she pulled a knife on her, Uber didn't care.
They don't want they don't want to go have this registered as another case against them. They try to avoid having to classify these cases, so they're just not engaging. They're not return.
Yeah, I saw the numbers in Anna's article. Those are way too low.
Right.
Way
because
too
they're not
low.
reflecting the truth, and that's how they get away with minimizing and diminishing this significant, because they know, like, of the ones that are reported, imagine how many are not reported. Like, just in your own case, Tara.
Yeah.
In your own case, enough is, wow, you said hundreds of cases versus just a few that you mentioned in the article.
The one thing is,
I have a recording of a guy who wouldn't get out of my car until I went down to the beach with him. I have all these recordings.
well, you know what you got to do though. You know what you got to do, and this is the difficult part: is that this stuff, if it's dash cam footage, we got to put it out there, right? We got to put it out there because
it's only voice recordings.
Is your dash cam? Do you have a good dash cam?
Dash cam, yes. Torsten, please talk about.
No, Tara, do you have a good? Well, I'm all for spending the money on good dash cams, but I mean, there are some dash cams that are sort of sub quality and they don't really get everything. I mean, what is your dash cam like? Do you feel like it captures the story, the audio?
I have a good dash cam. I don't know how to set it up, and I don't know where it is now. I bought it 7 years ago.
Okay, well, afterwards you can email me your address. I'll send you a good one. It's a $200 dash cam. I want you to have a good dash cam, and then if you need it installed, I will pay to have it installed. right? I cannot.
But I'm not really driving for Uber anymore, to be honest with you.
Well, I
just drove New Year's Eve. I'm not going to drive again until 4th of July.
Well, I would hope that you don't go out there at night. And the one thing that I want to do.
I have no choice, and I'll have to go to Charleston.
Okay. Are there a lot of golf courses?
Delivery. Our focus is delivery stuff.
Right, you're doing deliveries now, which is way safer. But there's a lot of women out there still driving, and so these golf courses, they're mainly in Myrtle Beach and what other areas? I just want to write this down.
Pawleys Island.
Say that again?
Merle's Inlet is a big place for them to go, which is why we congregate.
Okay.
In that place.
They
go to the bars there and...
Okay. Well, I want to get a letter out to all of those golf... I want to get a letter out to all of those golf courses.
And sit there and wait for rides.
Right. I want to get a letter out to all of those golf courses, to the management. That's the first thing. And basically...
But there's too many drivers now, so it's not worth it.
No. No, you're not...
That I mentioned earlier is sitting out there at night, and she's getting only a few rides a week. She'll sit out there for 12 hours and get one $10 ride.
Yeah, Torsten's referring to putting these golf course owners on notice that their clients are behaving horrendously towards transportation.
Exactly. You see, you coming to the golf course to pick them up or deliver them back, right? And a lot of these people are drunk, and there are a lot of acts committed that these hotels.
At bars.
Right.
And they play different golf courses. They don't just play one.
I get that, but you understand.
They play one day, one the next day.
Which is, can I stop you for a second?
Why these folks are congregating in that area? They're coming in from out of area because of their golf courses. Correct.
And they have to. And if they don't want, if they don't want to have, look, you can blow this up in the media. You can blow this up in social media. If this type of stigma is attached to these golf courses up there, that people go up there to go bars, get drunk, away from their families, away from their wives, to go and cheat and hurt.
Take off their wedding rings.
Of course.
I have driven female passengers home who have told me horrible stories about getting hit on by golfers. But the thing is, they're in the bars and they're protected. I'm not protected.
What Torsten's referring to is that if this affects their tourism, which is golf centered,
exactly,
then they will definitely have a vested interest financially to make sure that negative press doesn't get out to the world.
Exactly.
That this is the kind of people that they attract.
Exactly.
I know, but they get paid no matter what.
No. No. When you start blowing something like this up in the media and you're attaching, these areas and these golf courses, and this notorious behavior happens towards female drivers every time these golfers are drunk, it doesn't make these golf courses look great. So they're gonna,
negative press.
Negative press works. It really does work. Believe me, I can tell you many stories about that, and Edward as well. So
down Pawleys Island, we have one of the top 10 golf courses in the country.
Okay.
That's why there's a lot of golfers staying on the south end, like in Pawleys Island and Merle's Inlet and Surfside Beach.
Okay. And so a lot of that stuff goes on over there, right? In those areas.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why I've had hundreds of incidents.
Yeah, and these are usually people who actually have quite a bit of money. They spend big money. They get really drunk, and then they can throw They think they can throw $100 bills around, and get a female drivers to cooperate. Like I'm just saying this type of the companies are facilitating this, right? The companies, these clients, these riders are on the company's platform. That's number one. That's a big problem. They then commit these crimes. They commit these crimes, and then they back out there a week or 2 weeks later under a different email, different name, doing the same thing again. You know what I mean? Or they're doing it to your friend, to you,
Well, Myrtle Beach is known for golf courses and strip clubs.
Right. Okay.
One of my biggest problems is picking up guys at the Masters. One night I had two guys I drove to the Masters. They kept offering me $100 to see my breasts, and I kept saying no. They gave me a 1-star rating.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
They gave you a 1-star rating because you would not cooperate.
A lot of breasts in a couple hours. I got good at handling it. I'm just like, you're gonna see a lot of breasts in a couple hours. Just let me be.
Wow. The point is, you shouldn't have to. You're there to transport them from point A to point B safely. That is it.
That's it.
Above and beyond that, that is called sexual assault.
So can I stop both of you for one moment? I want to just say something on this video. So the audience listening in, the people watching this video, I'm really asking you a massive favor is to circulate this in all the Facebook pages, to tweet out this video and attach Dara Khosrowshahi on Twitter, right? It's at DKHOS, at DKHOS. And Dara Khosrowshahi, if you come across this video, I want you to know, as the CEO of Uber, or Logan Green or John Zimmer, the head guys at Lyft, you are facilitating this, right? You're not taking the reports, you're not following up, you're not getting rid of problem riders, you are actually facilitating this, right? So you are part of this problem, right?
You're enabling.
You are enabling this, Mr. Khosrowshahi.
Who's one of the biggest problems?
Go ahead.
Ashton Kutcher.
How? Tell us.
He goes on talk shows and says that tipping is part of the Uber app, and you don't have to tip your drivers. Then, okay, we're getting paid about 30% of what we were when we started.
Okay.
He's making millions of dollars, and he keeps cutting our pay, but he keeps saying, oh, you don't have to tip your drivers. So nobody tips us. We rarely get tipped.
You have a recording of them? What type of proof do you have that this character is behind it?
He's the one out there. He's the face of it.
No, Ashton, he
went on, I believe, Jimmy Kimmel, and he said...
he's an investor. That was long ago. But Travis was the one who changed everything, to be honest. And then Logan Green, and John Zimmer, they also drafted in the shadow of Uber and did the same basic thing.
Okay.
So
I think this new guy is worse.
They're all culpable, and no one made as much money as Travis did. So that's where it started. All of them are culpable, and all of that needs to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Any other? I mean, you have tons of horror stories. Many of them you said you haven't even reported. You only say you report the real bad ones, right? The real crazy ones.
I didn't even report the plastic bag incident except to Uber.
What about 911? Did you ever call 911?
Yes.
Did you ever dial 911 in any of these incidents?
I have.
And somebody came out?
Yes.
And how did they handle the matter? They just didn't want to...
A lot of them weren't sexual harassment problems.
Well, so they say, right? So the police say it didn't constitute, but in your eyes, on your clock, it was...
Even if they are there and the customers are there, they say it doesn't constitute sexual harassment.
Wow.
They just don't want to deal with it.
They
tell me I should get another job. This guy sat down with me 45 minutes at my house. I recorded it. A police officer.
Yeah.
And told me to just get another job.
That's it. Just go and get yourself another job. As easy as that. Easy for him to say. Right? He should be doing his job correctly, and he's telling you to go and get another job.
I had a floor mat with proof, let's say. They called it the stain. But it was an ejaculation of sperm. I had it on the floor mat. I had proof, and they wouldn't do anything. I said, take it to a lab, and they said they didn't want to spend the money.
Oh my God. So these are some of the crazy things you've had to put up with. Some guy ejaculating in your car, and you got all the proof in the world. They don't want to act on the proof. They don't want to take it to the lab and like pretend, oh, you know, it never happened. I don't know if these people are too embarrassed or they just, Edward, or they're not capable of doing their job. What's the deal here?
I see the same police officers over and over again. They know me.
What police department is that? Myrtle Beach PD?
This was in Pawleys Island.
You know, it sounds like a couple of cops protecting a lot of rich guys, if you ask me. You know, anybody out in Twitter, go and look that up. They have a Twitter handle or whatever you can attach out there. Get these stories out there. Embarrass these fools because they got to do their job.
Speaking of the police, I had a really good experience with them. I was robbed.
Okay.
Do you remember when that co-ed was killed at USC?
Yes.
And they started the What's My Name campaign?
Correct. I remember that.
Yes. Because of that, I got 3 guys in my car who robbed me. They said, what's my name? I said, Charles, and he got in my car. They robbed me. The police caught them within an hour. The idiot in the front seat was hitting on me, while the other 2 went through my wallet and stole everything, my credit cards, my money, and they didn't get the money back, but they got the guy because he was actually at the bar where he told me to meet him.
And
they were great.
Okay,
but
cool.
Still, he's still being prosecuted. I still get letters.
Okay. And can I ask you, this all happened on what? The Uber X platform, I guess? I mean, or were you driving on any Uber X?
Yes, because this What's My Name campaign, it hurts Uber drivers. I had an incident in Charleston where a guy said he was whatever name and got in my car, and the real guy came up, and he actually pulled him out for me. Because this guy was drunk, and he was he immediately grabbed my breast, and he started attacking me, and the guy pulled him off me and pulled him out of the car.
Wow.
Then we were talking, the guy said, I'm so sorry these things happened to you.
Well, let me just clarify this. If anyone lays hands on you and it's not invited or welcome, that's assault. Mm-hmm. That's criminal.
Yeah.
It is, but Uber doesn't care. And neither do the police.
It's not about Uber, though. It's not about Uber. It has to be documented. And if the police don't want to do anything about it, then you escalate it. You go to the boss. You go to the lieutenant. You go to the captain. You go to the chief of police. You go to the media. Mm-hmm. You let the media know. You go to the investigative reports on the media, but you do not let it go.
Yeah.
Edward, I don't want to lose my job.
No, you escalate it and you protect yourself. If you lose your job, there will be such a heavy lawsuit by an attorney that'll spin their head. Torsten could tell you.
Yeah, I mean that.
I pretty much lost my job because I can no longer Uber because I'm afraid of sexual harassment. I'm afraid I'm going to get raped.
Okay, I got to stop you there. So when you say, I don't want to do the job, I'm afraid that I could get raped, right? This is a very, very powerful statement that everyone needs to listen to.
But this is a very real statement.
No, this is real. This is as real as it gets. It doesn't get more real than this. But the thing is, I think what Edward is touching on, right, is that a lot of drivers don't really know what to do in that situation, and then they back off, right? They don't follow through.
I'm scared of getting deactivated.
Right. Well,
so
deactivated.
It's a serious situation.
Right. Deactivated is
and
would be.
I've learned how to handle it a lot better.
Right, but the goal is not to handle these situations better. The goal is that if there is retaliation or deactivation because of this, there are serious lawsuits in place. right?
Consequences,
major consequences. I mean, people sue for millions and millions of dollars because of this, because this long-term affects your psyche. You should not figure out a way how to deal with a guy who's people that try to rape you or try to ejaculate in your car, as you say, right? You know, this is not what you should contend with on a day-to-day or week.
It's not considered normal and acceptable.
It's not normal and acceptable.
For a rider, ever.
Right. So,
Kirsten, how many times have
of course
riders? How many times have riders with like not even 1% of what Tara has mentioned today? How many times have them? Oh, I was offended. And they got action done. Oh, you know, he looked
and they did right away.
They get drivers deactivated. They make them lose their job. They put lawsuits against Uber for much less, and the riders get away with it.
Correct. So, you know, you got to get on the phone.
I've experienced that. I've been falsely accused a couple times of erratic driving. I've been accused of being drunk. I was accused of being drunk by 2 strippers who did not want to pay for the Uber ride. It was a surge, and the guy said he was going to pay for it. And when they got there, he said, I'm not paying for it. And so what they did was they said I was drunk. And I was taken down for 48 hours. I almost lost my job.
Okay, someone just made a comment in the live feed, and I really want to address this. This is not always just a one-way street, right? This is not just, you know, let's say female drivers that have to put up with drunk, rowdy male passengers, or you know, it can also be the other way around, that a female rider gets hit on by a male driver. The only difference is if she reports that male driver is off the platform, and it's pretty difficult for that male driver to get back on the platform, right?
Actually, it happens a lot on my webpage.
Okay.
Because, you know, I read the posts, and male drivers lose their jobs all the time, and they're supporting their families.
Right.
And
Also,
it's for things they didn't do. Like, someone has a surge ride, they don't want to pay for it, so they claim sexual harassment.
Correct.
The driver loses their job,
correct.
And they don't have to pay for the ride.
So, Tara, I want to tell you that this new company that I formed with a few attorneys under Gig Rocket, I work with several attorneys. We filed 15 cases in the last 48 hours, Edward, to small claims court. 15 cases.
Excellent.
We'll file mine.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's the only way they listen, right? Because when you hit them in their wallets, right? When you hit them in the media, then they start. It's amazing that you sometimes have to go to the media to go and get reinstated, right? Or reactivated.
Well,
because
that time the guy ejaculated my car, the only reason I got reactivated was because of the newspaper article.
And the newspaper actually listened to you and ran the story correctly?
Yes, they did.
Good. I'm
They
happy.
said rough ride. The headline was rough ride for Uber driver, and they spelled it out. They called it the stain,
Wow.
and they said exactly what happened.
And I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you that you went to the media and that you followed through, and you can see how much power like you and the media had together, right? Because
I needed my job. And I told them, if you don't give it back, I'm going to the media. And that's what happened.
Good for you.
It was only a small paper, but they did run the article.
Good for you. I'm glad you did that. And that's what a lot of people need to do, right? Is to have the courage, like Tara, and reach out and actually speak to someone. There's always people that are willing to listen and run stories, right?
The squeaky wheel gets
That's the only way that they did listen. I'm telling you.
I agree.
was taken down for 5 days over a comment that said I wasn't a girl.
And you lost money for 5 days.
I wasn't driving my car, and deactivated me immediately.
Wow.
From a guy who said I had big tits for 20 minutes and tried to grab them while I was trying to drive on dark, stormy roads.
Wow.
he was making it a dangerous drive, and I kept having to push him away from me. And then I could hear what was happening in the back seat, but there was nothing I could do about it because I had to deal with the guy in the front seat. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, these perpetrators, what the thing that has to change, Edward, is that these perpetrators get back on, and the companies are allowing this to happen. So this is where the laws. So if you have evidence, or if you have friends that are willing to collaborate, I
saw pictures of the stain.
Okay,
Eventually, I had to get it washed off, but I still have pictures.
Yeah.
And reports to Uber.
There's financial enrichment that they experience, so they're culpable. They are benefiting from
this
process, so they are responsible. But here's the thing. We need to hold them accountable. We need to hold them accountable and make them pay with consequences. And that's in the media and in the pocketbook.
Correct. And
the thing is, they don't listen to us. They don't listen to me. I've been assaulted hundreds of times, and they don't listen to me. So I don't drive for them anymore.
When you have an article that you just came out with in The Verge, which is recognized nationally and internationally. I just spoke with a gentleman who is a congressional representative in Canada on that same level, right, of congressional members. And I expressed to him about the article in The Verge. He says he was familiar with it already. So The Verge gives you national and international exposure.
It does, but she went too soft.
Is because it springboards these issues that have to have time in the media for discussion. And we have to find answers so that we can resolve this and address it and hold these bastards accountable.
Can I stop? Can I stop both of you for a second?
Tell the whole story.
Okay, so Tara.
That's why we're doing
this. It's much worse than what she wrote.
And that's why we're doing this as a follow-up, and there's other opportunities. The whole idea is to springboard this discussion.
Yeah, and that is correct. The other thing here is what we're doing. We are encouraging more women to come forward, right? The problem is we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg here, right? There's so many stories. And the bottom line is there are a few big law firms that have taken on a lot of these cases, these sexual harassment cases, right? So we need to bring them the names of thousands and thousands of women, because when you start filing suits with thousands and thousands of women, this is rampant. It's just, we have to amplify it, right? And when these guys file these type of class action suits from thousands of women that suddenly have the courage to come forward like you do, right, through The Verge on this channel and contacting the media, there are many people like you, Tara, that have the courage to step forward. So we're asking them to step forward. We're asking the law firms to step forward and meet and engage with these female drivers and male drivers that have been sexually harassed or raped or whatever's happened, crazy stories in these cars. And we need to hit them where it hurts most. And when you start filing these massive, there've been little cases here and there, okay? 5 women, 10 women, this law firm filed a case. No, you need to have all of these women step forward and hit them simultaneously from different angles, from different states. There's 100 women over here, we've got a case. There's another 50 women over here. Then, believe me, we will start changing things, because that's the only thing they're worried about, right? Why do you think they spending all this money in Massachusetts right now trying to fight the law? Because Massachusetts has filed tons and tons of lawsuits, right? Burying Uber and Lyft. All they're doing is defending, settling, right? And it worked in Massachusetts, right? Now they're trying to pay, like Proposition 22, change the law to their favor. We're not going to allow this, Tara. You have literally just given thousands of women the power to step forward. That's the way I see it. And correct me if I'm wrong, please.
I hope so.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
My sisters and Uber step forward.
Fantastic. I like that. Good.
None of them should have to go through what I go through.
100% right. 100%.
I dislike my current job with Instacart very much. They treat us much worse than Uber.
Really?
Trust me when I tell you that. But it's safer, so I do it. And it's more money.
Okay. Well, how do they mistreat you? I mean, how's the company mistreating you? You don't have to. You don't have to go there.
I can.
You don't have to. Yeah, I understand.
Basically, the rating system.
Okay.
Like,
punishing you.
We get a bad rating if a store's out of toilet paper. And when we get a bad rating, we make less money. Like in October, I delivered to a woman who I delivered to for, 2 years.
Okay.
Since the pandemic started. And they didn't have her rotisserie chicken, so she gave me a 1 star. The next day I got her, she gave me another 1 star. That cut my income to a fifth of what it was for a month until I got 100 deliveries to get those ratings out, because you have to get 100 deliveries to get a bad rating out.
Correct. It's brutal.
I delivered to a woman tonight. She told me to leave her groceries by the garage door. It was raining. They would have gotten wet. So I left them at the front door, and she cut my tip in half. And I'll probably get a bad rating.
Wow.
I tried to call her. I tried to text her. She didn't answer. I didn't want her groceries to get ruined. That's all.
Correct. No, you did the right thing.
I went above and beyond, and still she was able to do that. And that's the thing. They can take our tips away. We see our tips ahead of time. But that's the thing. They take our tips away.
Yes.
Which is a bait and switch, which that's illegal.
Yeah.
That is illegal.
It is illegal.
You cannot have a false inducement for someone to do a job and then, decide to change your mind later. You cannot do that.
Yeah, bait. Do they call it bait tipping? And that's illegal.
Well, I had a woman who did that, and she just started a new account under another name. I contacted Instacart and said, no, this is Carol. This is a very same person.
Okay.
Well, look here, the coders, the programmers, they can set it in the algorithm, in the software programming, that once it is entered, it cannot be changed. It cannot be. They can do
Edward and Tara, I want to get back on the topic.
At that address. It's that simple. It shouldn't be that hard to do.
I want to get back on the topic.
Okay,
so
sorry.
Tara, no problem. This is a big topic, and we need to. Do you know of other women?
We have an ice storm right now.
Do you know of other?
Internet is out.
Okay, but do you know of other women that?
We have a major storm. I delivered to her, so I risked my personal safety.
I hear you.
Delivering to her in an ice storm.
Correct.
And she cut my tip in half.
That's unacceptable. Torsten, you're going to say?
No, I was going to say, I'm sure Tara knows a lot of other women that she talks to through Facebook groups in her city herself, like that have gone through these horrific. Do you think there are other women that would have the courage like you to come forward and just like share 20, 30 minutes? Do you think you would know someone that could, because the more stories
I know someone. She was supposed to be on this call tonight.
Okay.
But her neighbor slid off the road and she went to help her.
Oh, well, that's nice of her. I would love to have both of you back on, because I think the more women that step up and tell the stories, the more we amplify the story, right? I would love to have both of you back.
The thing that Anna hadn't come across. We kept track of each other throughout the night. We made sure we were safe, and when we had bad incidents, we'd sit in the Walmart parking lot and just talk each other down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We'd have someone to talk to about it.
Like comfort each other, right?
To Uber, they do nothing, so we had each other.
And
here's the thing, Tara, is that yes, these are multi-billion-dollar multinational corporations, and do we feel like a David against Goliath? Yes, we do. But guess what? Each and every time we could beat the pants off of them in the court of public opinion. Correct, Torsten?
Always. I mean, it's amazing. Always. It's amazing what the little guy can do with a computer and a phone. It's powerful. It really is. So
they hate negative press.
Oh, they hate it.
Them money.
They hate it. Absolutely hate it.
I know.
And this. I mean. But in the story in The Verge, I think they got that right. Like this relationship, this friendship with this other lady, they seem to have captured that pretty well, right? Like that you would meet and support each other. Do you feel that was like correctly depicted in the story?
To a point, yeah.
Okay, good. And of other women that have like other female friends that they can check in with and just like...
Yes.
Good.
I have another friend I check in with now. Because Catherine is no longer driving.
Okay.
So I actually met another driver through Instacart. She was doing Instacart.
Okay.
And she stopped doing Instacart and is driving again.
Okay.
And when we work, we check in on each other.
That's nice. I think it's important. I mean, it's like knowing that someone's there for you and is listening, I think is extremely important. It is when I think you get very discouraged when you're making these calls or you're trying to tell your story to a cop or to the company and you're just getting rejection, right?
It's difficult when you're alone.
Yes.
My first 3 years alone, I thought this was normal.
Right. Okay.
It's difficult before you learn from other drivers that, no, this isn't normal.
Right. And Tara, how long have I been encouraging you to get your story out?
5 years, probably.
Good.
Okay, a long time. So here's the point.
Yeah.
There's people, there's groups, there's organizations, associations, there's people like you have Torsten, like you have me. We have Alliance for Independent Workers, the hashtag Drivers Unite movement. Torsten has also his contacts and his organizations that he also works with. We can together, united, make a difference.
Correct.
And this is proof right here. This is a international article that's been published. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But it starts the discussion. It starts the dialogue. And it cannot be ignored.
Well, Al, I'm going to write my own article.
Good.
Good for you.
Write your article and then I will do a story on your article.
I want to tell the story of how it really is.
Please do. I sign me up. I will read every word of your article on this show. And what Edward said is correct. I had a gentleman, was a Chinese driver who came to me and he felt so weak and he felt so powerless, right? And we blew his story up in national media,
You are powerless.
Yeah, you're right. But when you
make us powerless.
Correct.
They have to be regulated, and they will be one day.
Correct.
They can't treat us this badly.
Right, but what Edward was saying is once
it's not just Uber, it's Instacart.
Correct.
It's DoorDash. DoorDash has cut the pay so much, it's not worth doing. I worked 2 hours and drove about 50 miles for $11.
Correct.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that, and they obviously seeing how far they can push you, and I would say that the gig community, whether it's DoorDash, Grubhub, Instacart, Uber, Lyft, they've had it. Like they're on this line right now. Don't push us any further. If you just tap into mainstream media and see what's going on, the people have had it. Right? They are sick and tired of the abuse, right? Now, the good thing is...
I've had it. I'm trying to get a real job.
This is extreme corporate exploitation, and we have to document each and every incident that occurs.
Yeah, it's true.
Edward is right. We do.
100%. Tara, I appreciate you so much for coming on today and having the courage and sharing your stories. I do want to do a follow-up show with you and your friend. Edward, he knows anytime. I love Edward. I know where his heart is. I know how he's a fighter, right? And you know, if we can just keep on shedding light and you know, going out to the media, telling your story like you did, it works. It works, right? And if we have to embarrass these people 1,000 times, these companies, that if that's how we're going to win the battle, that's how we're going to win the battle. But like, never be shy, never hold back. You know, go out there, have the courage to tell your story as you did, because I can tell you touched a lot of women tonight. And I was reading through the comments, by the way, guys, while we were doing the show. This topic was a little sensitive for a couple of guys, strangely enough. They couldn't handle it, so they bailed out, right? And if it's too tough for you, then you're not cut out, right? You're not cut out. But you have to give your brothers and sisters.
Reality.
This is reality. If you cannot deal with reality, don't be in the game. If you cannot give your female sisters, who are driving like you, the chance to tell their story. If you cannot stomach it or handle it, right? If you cannot deal with reality, this is reality. This is the stuff that women have to put up with, right? And it's important for a male driver to hear this, because they, you know, 80%, I would say, Edward, correct me if I'm wrong, 80 to 90% are male drivers, and many of you don't even come across. I'll tell you that a male driver out in Myrtle Beach, the stories.
I told you about them standing
right,
around
they will.
That we should give hand jobs and blow jobs.
Right, well,
to get better.
Shame on them. Shame on them. If they're listening in,
drivers had higher ratings than us.
If they're listening in at Myrtle Beach, any male driver who feels like this is a joke, shame on you. Wake up and then get a reality check here, right? Because if your daughter turns 21 and she becomes an Uber driver and comes back to you and tells you these stories, are you going to laugh then? No, I don't think you're going to laugh then. So to those,
I'm going to be honest with you. I've had young women ask me if they should drive for Uber. I tell them no, it's not safe.
Right. Good for you.
I tell them what happened to me.
Good for you.
Look, you are going to have problems.
And you know, I know a lot of female drivers, and most of them have stopped driving at night. Most of them have stopped driving at night.
It was past this.
Yeah. Most of them have stopped driving at night because it's just too much, right?
There's no money here during the day. There is no professional center in Myrtle Beach.
Right, and you know, but again, that differs from city to.
There's a very short season where you can make money, like during the summer.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we have to drive to Charleston to make money.
Exactly, I hear you. I just want to say thank you. I just really want to say thank you. Thank
you.
Thank you, Tara, for educating us. I've been educated tonight because. This is a big wake-up call for me, and I've been in the game for 7 years. I don't think I've interacted with enough female drivers to hear all of these horror stories, right? And I highly encourage all of you lady drivers out there, please come forward, reach out to law firms, do some research, contact your media. If these golf courses or nightclubs or policemen don't want to listen to you, go above them. Always go above. Always go one step higher.
Yes,
right?
There is 2 strip clubs, basically, that we have problems with.
Okay, give me the names, because I would like to...
Okay, the main one is the Masters Club. That's closest to me.
Okay.
That's where I've had the most problems. I dread picking up there.
Okay.
Because I know I've been sprayed with dollar bills like I'm a stripper. And they're like, show us your tits.
Okay.
And the Dollhouse, not so much.
Okay.
Because that's up in North Myrtle Beach. But the Masters Club in Myrtle Beach, pretty much every single time, I'd say 75-80% of my rides out of there.
Yeah.
They hit on me and they offer me money and they treat me like a prostitute.
Okay, and you know.
So, Torsten, I just want to close with this. That look, a couple of years back, there was a good 6 writers that came together, and they got national attention. They were on talk shows. They were on the media all over the place.
Right.
Because they had been assaulted, in their opinion, by drivers.
Okay.
Right? This you hear tonight is way worse. Much worse.
It is,
much more. All of it's bad, of course. But this is much worse. And if it happens to these few riders, imagine how much more it happens to the drivers. There's many more riders than there are drivers.
Correct.
So we have to keep that in mind, that we have the power in unity and solidarity and pulling together. I just want to commend Tara, and after so many years of me working with her, she's gotten to this point. She has national exposure now with this story, and the sky's the limit. We're going to push this to a much higher level, and we're going to get things done, and we're going to change things together. Si se puede, yes, we can make a difference. So
Perfect.
I want to thank Tara especially, and Torsten, thank you for
Always.
giving the platform and the opportunity this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
I really appreciate this, Torsten.
Good. And I'm sure you feel.
I get to tell my story.
Good. I'm sure you feel a little better. Just like, you know, getting it out there. Like, just get it out of your system, right? It allows you to breathe again, Tara. It allows you to breathe.
No, it doesn't. That's the thing.
Well, it's a step. It's
the beginning of it.
It's the beginning. It's a small.
It's a healing process.
It is. It's a tiny step.
This happened to me again a couple weeks ago. I'm still shaken up.
I hear you. But
you
keep on.
I mean? He left bruises on me this time.
And then we can address that, because that person should not get away with it, and the company should not get away with it. So there's a lot we can do on that. It's not over. You know, it's not like a book that you have to shut and say, okay, I'm going to shelve this story. We can open that book.
No, that's what I did with Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to finish it. It's still on, what did you say, page 267?
I would encourage you to.
I just could never touch the book again.
I would encourage you to finish the book.
Came about.
I would encourage you to finish the book, to step into your power and take your power back. Don't let any. I know.
See, I love Stephen King. I'm reading a bunch of his books now.
Right.
And I realized I wanted to read that book. I missed it somehow back in the day, and Billy took that away from me.
Yeah.
You know what I
so
mean?
That's what we're here to give you back your power. And know, and all women who are listening, that we are here to support you.
Exactly.
To get things to a better place. Together we can make a difference. In unity we can make a difference. We need to support each other through this very, very powerful medium and very valuable tool. And thank you, Torsten, so much for this. We really appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much, Torsten.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, and we're going to talk again soon, right? Promise? Absolutely.
Promise.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Edward.
Have Kathy on the line with us.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Wow. Now there's one name, you know, me, I go for the jugular, right? That's just, I'm pissed off after this. There's some people are going to pay a price for this. And, you know, I'm going to make a call now to the Masters Gentleman Club, which he mentioned, right? A lot of people come out there, and I wonder at this time if we can even get a manager or something there, because I just want to make them aware that a lot of their drunk patrons, you know, all these rich golfers go there and then afterwards go out and abusing these women, these Uber drivers. It's got to stop, or at least they need to have a word with their management about this. So Masters Gentlemen's Club, strip club in Myrtle Beach, 843-916-0972. They don't work. Maybe it's shut down. It's got a bad rating. It has a 2.8 rating. Nobody wants to answer the phone there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an attorney draft a letter. It can be a letter that can be duplicated, and we send it to all the golf courses, we send it to all those strip clubs, and just put these people on notice, right? Because if you're going into the Masters Gentleman Club and they're getting shitlessly drunk and crazy stuff happens out there, they have to really monitor, just like a restaurant or a nightclub, right? You have to watch how much alcohol you put into these individuals, and they have no clue what their patrons do to people the moment they get picked up at the Masters Gentlemen's Club, at the golf course, etc. These people are clueless. So you have to educate them. So suddenly everyone is talking. Oh, did this guy call you? Because I go crazy on the phone. I go crazy. I say, hey, we've had multiple complaints about your strip club. We have multiple complaints about your good. Everybody starts talking, right? We're going to engage the media. We're going to bring in national media. Then they start shitting themselves, right? Oh my God. And they start talking. They start having meetings. Maybe we need to have a little staff meeting and address this. Maybe the security guards need to be a little bit sharper. Maybe the valet outside needs to be a little bit sharper, right? And train them up. That this is not like a free ticket. You go, you high roller, spend all your bucks, right? I go out and spend money, but I'm not going to go afterwards and try to put a bag over a woman's head or throw $100 at her or start, like this lady said, start fondling her, right? That's where you draw the line. And if you do not hold these companies, if you do not hold these people accountable, this stuff goes rampant. They think, okay, green light, we can do it anytime we want. So you have to put them on notice. And especially when they get put on notice, written by an attorney, and it happens again and again and again, you go after these guys, right? This has to end, folks. And the only way I think, like after tonight, speaking to Tara and to Edward, and really hearing Tara's story, is that more and more women need to come forward with their story. More and more women need to turn to the media and explain what Uber and Lyft and these companies are doing to them, right? And then we start building momentum around this topic. There have been 3 or 4 incidences. There was a story 2 nights ago, 48 hours ago in Chattanooga. The guy raped a driver for 90 minutes. Did you guys hear about that story? 90 minutes. She dialed 911. The police only got to her after 90 minutes because they said they couldn't track the signal. Now, you can't blame the police for that. If they're in an area and they cannot, they were trying to get to her. They were listening to her on the 911 call. They were listening to what she was going through, but they could not locate the car because of the poor signal or the area, etc., right? They eventually found her. 90 minutes she had to go through hell. And it's not just a one-way issue, right? It's not just, okay, female drivers being abused by male riders. No, it works both ways, right? It's also trash male drivers taking advantage maybe of a young female rider, like we heard the other day, this guy that just got arrested. So every single day it's another story. But we have the movement, we have the momentum, we got to keep the stories in the news. It's a very hot and sensitive topic right now. And we have to have the courage to talk about it like Tara did, right? So in any woman out there, even if you're overseas or whatever state you're in, Florida, Texas, California, it doesn't matter, come forward, right? You have this platform to talk and express yourself. And you know, we got a very caring community. Sharing is caring. We get the story out. Patrick Pitts, I just want to say, I really appreciate having you in my channel as a subscriber. I read all of your messages. I don't reply to all of them, but I really love what Patrick Pitts contributes to this channel. I appreciate what Sabine contributes, right? There are people, if I hear you, Roy Watkins is in the house, we need to expose them all, 100%, right? I read all the comments every single day. It's not that I respond to every comment, but I know who gives me good feedback. I can tell you, Patrick Pitts, great contributions from you. Sabine, great contribution. Roy Watkins, always, right? My friend in Vegas, always. Much love to you, Roy. Good to see you here. And everyone else. We have 35 people in the house. Please hit that like button so that the video gets shared more. We're on 23. Let's pump it up to 30 at least. So smash that like button. Mike's Ozra is in the house. The freaks come out at night. Exactly, the freaks do come out at night, and we need to expose those freak shows, right? Especially the freak shows that maybe get kicked off as a rider, and then a week later, they're in the next car, and then in the next car doing the same thing. These perpetrators hop around abusing the situation, right? And Uber and Lyft ain't doing nothing about it because there's no checks and balances, there's no photos, there's no IDs, there's no background. Thank you, Sabine. So these perpetrators, these thugs, this trash is back on the platform thinking, oh, I'm powerful, I can do it again, and I can do it again, and I can do it again. Right, to a point where like, okay, they order a ride, they see it's a male driver, decline. Let me order again, decline, order again. Let me get a female driver. They'll decline 10 times until they get a female driver, because suddenly that's when they feel powerful, right? They feel powerful. Now they can exert their power. They know that they may be physically a little bit stronger, right? But would they do that with a 6'3" linebacker or with some guy who's had gun training? No, they would be way too coward to get into the car with such an individual, because they know that they will be disciplined. They'll either be disciplined this way or they'll be disciplined this way. So what do? They go and feed. They go on feed on a couple of females that they think that they can manipulate, bully, and hey, let me pull my same crap over to you guys. You are weak males. I'll knock you out right here and now. Step into the arena, right? You guys are cowards. You hit the button again and again and again and again until you get a female driver, so that you can start your abusive pattern all over. You need to go and have a reality check and see what's going on in your sick fucking mind, right? Before you pull this shit over and over again, right? And cops, I know you guys have a tough job. I have many cop friends. It's a tough job. But please, listen, take down these reports, right? Because collectively together we can stop this nonsense, right? And the justice system needs to step up, right? There needs to be justice here. Drag them into court, whatever you have to do. Take them to media. Get the TV involved, right? The driver that got beaten up the other night in Beverly Hills, the guy I knew, contacted the media. The story ran, right? You tell me that you can't, that there's nothing that you can do? Yes. So what did he do? He made 4 or 5 phone calls. 4 or 5 phone calls, and then one story, right, one channel said, hey, you know what? Passenger in the back seat. Why is this not opening? See, you know, this was just because we made a few phone calls and he made the news, right?
Passenger in the back seat. According to the driver, he picked up a passenger in Hermosa Beach, and after some resistance, he convinced the man that he needed to put on the face mask. A message that didn't sit well with the guy in the back seat. By the time they got to the Beverly Hills area, that's where the rider wanted to be taken, the confrontation escalated. The passenger slapped the driver, spit in his car, and slammed the door.
So, my fellow drivers, so what pissed me off about the story, I think I'll make a standalone video about this, is that the rider spat in the driver's car. If you spit in my car, it's good night, sleep tight. You're going to wake up in hospital. I'll guarantee you that, right? The cheek to spit in someone's car. This is your car. This is your office, right? How would you feel? The rider hits you from behind, first cowardly act. He's hitting you from a much stronger position. You have your back to him, so he's attacking you from the back. That's a coward right there, right? And then as he gets out, he spits inside your car and he leaves. Good night, sleep tight. You will wake up in a hospital bed if you do that in my car, right? But we need to get those stories out. So what did he do? He went to the media. He told the story. They ran his story. Lyft apologized, right? He doesn't have to worry about deactivation or retaliation. He's got media attention, and he'll do it again if they retaliate. This is how we win the fight, right? You pull their pants down in public. You pull Dara's pants down in public and say, Dara, deal with it. Pull Logan's pants down in public, deal with it. You expose these fools for who they are. They're trash, right? So Dylan, thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just getting really irate because the story got me pumped up. And we've been going for 1.5 hours already, way beyond my bedtime. No, it's not. It's 7:30. Mickey Frost is in the house. Do you think your reactivation program can get someone back on the Uber platform? So let me just briefly explain what we launched. So working with attorneys and paralegals, we filed 15 cases in 48 hours, right? The companies get these legal letters. These legal letters are very, very well worded, right? And they basically say, hey, Uber, hey, Lyft, hey, Checker, whatever the case is, if you don't act, then this and this and this happens, right? And so you're giving them a chance to act on the information, because most of the time it's a one-sided story taken by customer support who has no idea what happens on the ground. Most of these people are overseas in the Philippines or Colombia. They have no idea what's happening on your turf, and you deactivate it. So what the letter does is it's saying, hey, hang on, here's basically the appeal, here's the true story. If you don't act on this, if you don't reinstate, we've sent you the footage, we've sent you photographs, right? Your riders made false declarations, we have the proof. If they don't act on it, it gets very, very expensive, because at that moment you have to follow through. It's either an arbitration case or a small claims, and you go after the damages. Then suddenly you will see how quickly you're reactivated. So you have to hit them hard. But if you talk from the sidelines and you're not firing off a legal letter, or you're not doing anything, you're not warning these people, you're not giving them consequences, they don't care. They'll leave you in their little wheel. You can call customer support 100 times, nothing will happen, right? You have to literally slap them awake. That's how you do it, right? So guys, yes, it's at Gig Rocket. Go check it out. A lot of other great courses. And the cool thing is the community, gig workers get to share their courses. Rothier Dunning's in the house. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So keep on fighting for you. We'll keep on exposing the stories. And bring me dash cam footage. Bring me stories. Send me links. You know, I try and fit in as much as I can. It's late at night, early in the morning. Sometimes I put an hour in here, 2 hours in there. I try to get as many stories out as possible. And again, thank you to Tara for having the courage to come out tonight. Thank you to Edward for facilitating this meeting. And I know the companies will get hold of this, because I'm going to circle the video in social media. I'm going to attach them on Twitter. Darius Moore is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Happy New Year. Darius is in the house. To everyone, to your families, please stay safe. Apostle Floyd is in the house. Uber in LA. Thank you, guys. Thank you for hanging in with me for 90 minutes. Hey, we're 89 minutes. I can go another minute and then we're done 1.5 hours. Patrick Pitts, again, thank you. Dylan, thank you. Let's light it up. Let's get a bunch of emojis out there. Let's set the frequency for the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday, happy weekend. Whether you're going to go out and work, whether you're going to chill this weekend, whatever you do, be safe. Uber in London. San Luis in the house. Doesn't matter. London, New York, Berlin, everywhere. John B, I got your info. I got it. Thank you. I've been reading the emails tonight. Thank you. So I will respond to that. Toochman, keep up the work. Thank you. I appreciate. Thank you for hanging out here. Thank you for contributing, Toochman. And again, let's all give Tara a huge, Joshua Brown, thank you for smacking down. High five, great success. Appreciate you. And let's give Tara all a big shout out for being brave and courageous. Mickey Frost, thank you. I'm getting jobs from Curial, but the app doesn't work with a Samsung phone. Okay, I got to address that then. Apparently they're on the Android and on the iOS platform, right? That's what they've assured me. Is your Samsung phone compatible? Di Guerrero's in the house. San Lul's in the house. Happy weekend, my friends. Go out there, give your wives, your husbands a big hug, your kids a big hug, and have a nice chill weekend, man. I appreciate you. So my boy is fighting on January the 29th, my South African friend. He's fighting in Ohio. And if he wins that, he then faces Canelo Alvarez, which is going to be a tough one. That is one tough fighter. Mickey Frost, note 20. Okay? I'm going to take a note of that, note 20. And I am going to shoot Curial a message. So it's a Samsung Note 20. And that's not facilitating the app. Guerrero, thank you, my friend. I love that boxing glove emoji. Big time. So I think I have a picture here of my boys here. They're in Mexico. They fought. They were sparring with one of the Olympians. Where are they? Where are the boys? Where are the boys? They are in Mexico City. Let me just see. I saw some pictures of them in Mexico City. And I think they're on their way to Ohio. Those are all my buddies. They're in Mexico. I think the one guy fighter is Duran. They're getting prepared, sparring for the fight. This was also in the gym in Mexico. The guy in the red shirt is the fighter, Tabisa Mshuna. If he beats Makubu, then he faces Canelo Alvarez. And then you got Sean Smith there, legend of a coach. And these are all the boys. We used to go out and brawl, like really fight. I mean, these guys can fight. I know from South Africa days, go nightlife, knocking people out. Good night, sleep tight, right? It was crazy how many street fights we used to get in South Africa. Crazy. Glad I have a family now. Glad I've calmed down. Glad I have kids, because I was way too wild in my teenage years and 20s, right? Way too crazy. Got to tell you those stories another time. Happy weekend, and thank you for watching the show. Stay safe, everyone. Be well. Thank you.